my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to all listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Well, Dave, we are going to review a movie that the great Mr. Tony Farina has picked, Dave, as one of our longest-standing patrons and our first ever supporter on the Comics Emotion podcast, and actually a really good friend of ours, which is the great thing about the podcast, because we've got so many good friends off the back of this as well, haven't we? So, yeah, I love Tony. Such a good guy. Picks in films, though, Dave, you know, have been a bit dubious. You know, we all remember Speed Racer and stuff like that, but let's just move over for that. Well, I don't know, actually. We're going back to 1975. It's a Roger Corman movie, Dave, which, you know, Eat My Dust is the pinnacle of his movie career as a director and creator. This one stars David Carradine, Simon Griffiths, Sylvester Stallone, Dave, Louisa Moritz, and Don Steele. This one is Death Race 2000. So I know we talked about it briefly last week, but go on, Dave, give us a rundown when you first remember watching this one.
Yeah, this is one of the earliest movies that I can remember. And again, just not a great advert for how 70s and 80s parents really governed what kids watched. Because, especially, I mean, to be fair, I have rewatched this one in the last few years. And I just remember watching it thinking, how the fuck can anyone think this is okay for a kid to watch? But the education of, like, you know, parents allowing their kids, you know, things to watch, it just wasn't around at the time. So I just remember this became like pop culture references that the family would use and stuff. And when you're driving out and about, you might see an old person and you might go, just give them a nod, say 100 points, or something like that. I mean, it sounds so fucking sick. But, I mean, obviously you're not running them over or anything, but just it's a reference to the film. It's all in, you know, it's all harmless, Chris.
We used to do that, Dave, but I don't necessarily think it was to do with this movie, but we did get points for, you know, potentially running people over. But I'm not saying anymore because they'll probably get cancelled. That was a Mancunian thing, Dave. Let's just say no more than that.
Well, someone might have seen it. You might not have seen it, but I don't know. Someone in your family who's older might have seen it. And I suspect, especially in the mid-70s, this would have been huge. Now, I don't know what grabbed me, because it's not like I don't love car movies or anything, but while saying that, there's just fucking a lot of them about, wasn't there? Gumball Rally, same year.
Yep.
You got Cannonball Run, Smoking the Bandit, stuff like that. So there's lots of car movies around, but I think what probably grabbed me is this is almost a fucking comic book movie before comic book movies really became huge. You know, the outlandish cars, you know, Frankenstein's car is just ridiculous. And all the different characters as well. It's like they've got wrestling personas or something. So it was just larger than life. I didn't get any of the politics or anything like that. But yeah, I absolutely loved this film. Did watch the remake. Didn't care for it very much. For me, it took away all of the satire, all of the fun out of the original movie. Still watched it though, but for me, I love this one, and not because it's good, but like I say, because it's just out there and silly.
I think with this sort of movie, knowing like the Cannonball Run and knowing like even the Gumball Rally, which wasn't the greatest that we covered a few weeks ago, this is in that wheelhouse as well. And I didn't know it was a Roger Corman film until like we were talking about in last week, and it's one of, you know, Tony's picked it as well, which I think there's a reason, because Tony's not daft. I can imagine him sat there on his elliptical bike, laughing his head off in Florida, Dave, you know, like in the morning, listening to this, hopefully, thinking he sneaks us up. So I just didn't know where to go with it. And like Stallone, obviously this was his biggest movie, just the year before Rocky. So when this came out, he was obviously filming Rocky as well. So I knew he wasn't the main Billy, but I was quite interested with Stallone, other than seeing his hairy bollocks, which I saw about last week, how he got into different movies. Because he did do a few movies. I know the story is like he did, was it Breakfast at Kitten?
Not Breakfast at Tiffany.
No,
the party at Kitty and Studs.
That's it, Breakfast, yeah, fucking hell. That one stood. But knowing, like, obviously it was a non-speaking role, whatever it was really, like, just out there, like, softcore porn. And then he did a couple of gangster movies. He did one with, like, the Fonz, who's still his friend. Henry Winkler's still a good mate of Stallone. So I was sort of, like, more as a Stallone fan, seeing, like, what he does. And I don't, so I was like, oh, no, is this going to be bad? But watching it now, like, obviously, 50 years later? Isn't it 75?
Exactly, 50 years, yeah.
Fucking hell. So what a career as well. And David Carradine, I always knew he was sort of like a B-level actor, kung fu, different movies that he'd done. So, yeah. No, I'm just interested where we go and whether Tony actually, in the year of the stitch-up, is trying to stitch us both up, Dave.
Well, I do have a recording from Tony, so when we get into our final review, we'll sort of hear from him there.
Oh, I bet we have.
You talked about a movie that he was in with the Fonz or Henry Winkler. So Corman actually saw him in this movie. Now, I've never watched this. Now, bearing in mind, one that we did do, like you say, his pre-Rocky career was Party at Kitty and Studs, retitled as The Italian Stallion. And I was looking, and the movie is called The Lords of Flatbush. But I don't think it is a Party at Kitty and Studs. I think it is like almost like a Wanderers type movie, but
gang level type thing.
Yeah, I think it is that. But I saw that and I thought, I'm putting that on the list. That's on the short list of things to maybe cover in this year of the Stitch Up, but we'll see. But thank you very much, sir. Let's get in to our trailer. In the distant future of the year 2000, society is in ruins, taste is left for dead, and leather is mandatory.
Yo, distract the public from the fact this is nothing like slot. Everything's gone to hell. I sound like I'm constipated.
You sound like you got a hernia.
Reynolds never conceived, and it's almost going into Macho Man. Go on, Dave.
A cross-country demolition derby where mowing down pedestrians earns you points and somehow applause.
Where the traffic laws are more of a suggestion and speed bumps of pensioners.
David Carradine stars as Frankenstein, a man of mystery, menace, and the acting range of a frozen chip.
I don't know the voices I'm doing, David, not far off. And Sylvester Stallone as Machine Gun Joe, a man so angry even his car looks like he wants a fight.
It's a film that bravely asks, what if Wacky Races was produced by a fascist regime with no budget and a grudge against old people?
Expect cardboard carnage, bargain bin explosions, and political satire so on the nose it gives you a nosebleed.
Directed by Roger Corman's tax write-off and edited with a garden strimmer.
It's dystopia, it's camp, it's got more PVC than a 90s rave, and somehow it still works.
Death Race 2000, the only film where flat and none counts as character development.
Available on VHS, Betamax, and whatever format your weird uncle still uses.
We watched it so you don't have to, but honestly, you probably should.
Just maybe lock the doors and hide the grandparents first.
After the world crash of '79 leaves America in ruins, the new totalitarian regime distracts the masses with the transcontinental road race, a brutal coast-to-coast spectacle where speed, carnage, and mowing down pedestrians for points are all part of the game. In the year 2000, the 20th annual race pits 5 outrageous pro-wrestling-style drivers against each other. Frankenstein, the masked national champion, Machine Gun Joe Viterbo, a volatile Chicago gangster, Calamity Jane, a fearless cowgirl, Matilda the Hun, a ruthless neo-Nazi, and Nero the Hero, a gladiator reborn for the asphalt. This year, Joe will stop at nothing to dethrone Frankenstein. But in a race like this, survival is the ultimate prize. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
You know, that's probably one of your longest intros. And the reason you've done that is to actually explain what the movie's about. Because this movie, fuck me, Tony's done a number on us here because he goes straight in with no fucking story. You know what? There's plenty of movies that we've reviewed where you go, we need a bit extra. We need another 15 minutes of character building and it made more sense. Or we need to cut something out of it. Well, this is nowhere. This isn't anywhere in between. This movie literally has about, there's no idea what's going on for me until we get about 15 minutes in. It is literally straight into it for the racing. We get like a Wacky Racer style intro straight in from the get-go. And honestly, Dave, my head is just gone. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Do I go on YouTube or do I go on like Google to find out what's happening here? And Thingy's outfit, the fucking Frankenstein's outfit, Jesus Christ. There's some weird fetish thing going on with this movie. This isn't just about movie and that. Someone somewhere has just gone, let's just fucking go for this. There's some sort of sexual fantasy going on with this movie because it's so low budget, but also it's one of the movies that you watch it and I'm like, I can't keep my eyes off it, Dave, because I'll put my finger now. It is so bad, it's good, if that makes sense. And I didn't think I'd be saying that because it's a terrible movie, but I can't. I'm watching it going, so this is the movie that I've wanted to watch for a long time, and everyone raves about it, and it's got this big reviews, and it's terrible. It's a Roger Corman film 101 into. It's like this is a sequel or the second part of an original movie because it just goes 100 miles an hour straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think it is like, I'm going to make a reference here. So it's almost like Star Wars, Chris, where you drop in and you're straight into the movie. There's no build-up, and it feels like there's a whole bunch of things that happened before.
Yes.
You're just joining partway through the story. And you're right. I think this is one of those movies that just builds up that Corman brand. Now, I do have to say, I was trying to do, a light dusting of research as we do. And it's written up in a lot of places that, Corman, like what he did and what he was fucking brilliant at was like tapping into the zeitgeist. So, like Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park comes out and then he releases Carnosaur. It's fucking... Now, what is reported as is he saw the success of Rollerball, and so Rollerball comes out, it's all successful, and so he's like, right, dystopian sports movies, like we'll do that, and so he sort of put an option on the short story, and that's how it's built. But the time doesn't work out because Death Race came out in April 75 and Rollerball came out in June 75. So I haven't got to the bottom of where the fuck, unless he just predicted, because obviously, when we go to the cinema and we watch a movie and stuff's been in production for ages. And so, directors, producers, they'll talk to each other so they know what's in the pipeline as well. And maybe it's that, maybe it was just he caught the idea rather than actually, seeing how popular it was. But there's something weird about it, about the link to Rollerball, which I'm just not buying it as it's written up.
You know what? It's interesting that because if you look at like Eat My Dust, and I know it's before then, but that's like he could rip off a story. Like he could look at like the Grand Theft Auto film that had come out at the time. There was a couple of others, that like proper famous movies for car chase type movies. And I know it's a comedy type thing, and it's before like the Burt Reynolds stuff and everything. But he literally could have got that production together in a couple of months to build this, this world, put it together. We'd go on a car chase romp around like, the south of America, like North America. With this though, with the cars and everything, there's a lot of planning, isn't there? There's a lot of stuff gone into this because they said they had to wait anyway because David Carradine was finishing a series of Kung Fu.
Yeah.
So he's the main star. you're right, the timelines don't add up, but there's a lot of stuff gone into this movie. As Roger Corman, for him, like it says the budget was $500,000 and he made 14 million, Dave. Now that is got to be one of his best movies for, it might not be, maybe others, but it's got to be up there as one of his most profitable movies. But there is a lot of stuff gone into this. Like you can clearly see the production is on a different level to some of the other movies that we've covered of his. Like I agree with you on that. I think the art style of it, and you can see in some of the car chase bits that they look like model cars. They look like they're actually RC cars, don't they? You know, like with Superman 2 when he has the fight with Zod, and you watch like the making of it, and they're all pretty much. He says it's a 1.5 scale of New York in Metropolis, and all the cars are fake, and when they're blowing everything. But we don't see that until you see like when General Zod's do like blowing the kiss to him, all sort of thing with and that, and he's like the Ursula and that where they're blowing the, and you can see the cars that just look like fucking toy things. They look like they're made out of nothing. But you wouldn't know for certain parts of that scene. It's very clever though, and they still do it in certain movies now. But with this, like there is a lot in this, and I think like I get what they're going for. I just think the main character Frankenstein is just a bellend, and like 1 minute he's got scars and he's got his mask on and he doesn't take them off, and the next minute when he takes his mask off there isn't any scars as far as I can see, or it's that blurry. It doesn't make any sense. But like he's not really a redeemable character. I don't think he's not a great person. I don't think the story of what they're trying to do comes across, and Stallone is just one of the angriest fucking characters I've ever met. The Chicago gangster Joe Machine Gun Viterbo, or whatever he's called, is fucking unbelievable. He has gone to another level, hasn't he? Like he's just so angry. He hates life. He hates everyone. They're all like parodies of like Frankenstein, and I get why he's called that because of the accidents and everything. But then Machine Gun Joe is just on a different level. I'm glad Stallone had Rocky, because my God, he wouldn't have made anything else after this if he got lucky with Rocky. I've got to say he's terrible in this.
Yeah, Stallone is dialed up to 11 with every line of dialogue, isn't he? And it's brilliant. What I love is the samurai copness to it as well. The Frank filming scenes on his own, because you've got the crowd, and obviously they can't afford many extras or anything. So they're filming the crowd at different times. They're all there, despite you've got this death race and everything. And when they introduce Joe and he drives up, and he just starts firing what looks like into the crowd. Yeah. But then the editing cuts back to the crowd, and they're all like, "Yay!" You don't see anyone ducking for cover, anyone getting shot or anything. It's just ridiculous, and fucking doesn't treat his navigator too well either, does he, old Joe Viterbo?
No.
So, another sort of relic from the 70s, I guess. But yeah, I fucking love, and we got Sensei fucking Cobra Kai there, haven't we? Kreese.
I just had to say that, Martin Cove, yeah. Legend.
So he's star-studded, and I agree with you. I think probably in the 70s, David Carradine was this heartthrob, but I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. And later on, when we get to the fight with him and Stallone, you're like, listen, this fucking Twiglet is not taking down Rocky in the worst fight scene that I think I've ever seen against this like fucking eclectic jazz mashup thing. But I think that I love the introduction to it. And again, I can see why as a kid I was watching this and I found it mesmerizing. I was into it because straight in there's no dialogue, there's no like talk of this world crash of 79. It's sort of hinted at and whatever, and it's mentioned, but they don't dwell on it at all. It's just straight in there. You got these larger than life characters, these ridiculous caricatures, and these silly cars and whatever. It is so bad it's good. I think, but not to write it off as well. I mentioned about Samurai Cop there. That was just a blatant. That film is saying nothing, in terms of the wider story and whatever. But I think there are themes to this where it's you've got a president of the United States who's over there living in Russia at the time, and you've got this whole cult where they just fucking love the race and they worship Frankenstein and whatever. You got a woman later on who worships him so much that she wants to be run over by him because that'll be an honor kind of thing. And it's like, God, it really taps into the human condition about how people put other people on the pedestal. And you got this shitty president, this fucking guy who's making things shit for everyone. But it's the French. Yeah, it's the French. They're the caricature fucking villains of the piece. So
you've got a Nazi, but the French are the ones to blame. Yeah.
And what do you think of that as well? Because I don't think. I mean, I guess you must have it in other movies somewhere, but to actually see the swastika, be paraded there, and this Nazi to be paraded like this comedy character, I thought was a bit fucking mad. Were you surprised to see that?
Well, yeah. To be fair, because you think 30 years after, the war ended, 1945 to 1975. It's 30 years. There's still people in that who have been in that war. Who, especially bloody hell. You have to watch bloody Schindler's List to understand all that. So it's like you've got this whole thing, and you're right. They're not the baddie. The baddie is more Joe. Machine Gun Joe. It should be the Nazi, shouldn't it? That's the whole point. But I think Frankenstein's almost like a Nazi, isn't he? David Carradine's character. He's weird. And I've always had a problem with him, David, because I know Johnny Lawrence, in the Karate Kid, what's he called? William Zabka. He wasn't a karate expert at all. He learned it, and then he became a black belt after that. He dedicated himself with martial arts. But he was a wrestler. He was like a very good collegiate wrestler as well. So he had something about him. And it worked in Karate Kid. I never would have doubted he did martial arts. Very good. It's a movie, very clever. Whereas we always say Ralph Macchio's one of the worst martial arts fakers I've ever seen. Even if he has got a black belt, he's definitely got that because he sent me off on fucking line or something and done a few katas or something. Or maybe it was me and you doing our online courses when people have asked us if we do karate day. But with Carradine, it always pissed me off because he was shit at martial arts. And reading up on him, it was like, he was a dancer. So he had a few ideas of the physical stuff, and then he was choreographed his video. And you can smoke and mirror stuff and things like that. But like you say, and I know I'm jumping a little bit, just never convincing to me. He's always just weird. Like, this is like one of them like actors in the show. Just never, when I used to watch, I used to piss me off. I used to come through, I used to think, what the hell is this? Like, it was so poor. So I'm never a fan of his work. I know, like, they were a big family of actors and actresses and that, but he's just as the character in it, and he's going around wearing this fucking gimp suit all the way through the movie. Like, he's saying to her, like, he's co-pilot and everything, the navigator, and she's chatting, do you ever take your mask off? And I'm like, no. And then he's got his mask off, then he's got the whole mask off, then he's got the suit back on. And what takes me out in this movie is this is a race to the death. This is a Cannonball Run style race, innit? From one side of this sci-fi dystopian world, and he's got this thing about the grenade. But there's these weird scenes, a bit like the Gumball Rally, where they just stop and they're parked up. And there's no reference why they're in a bar, a club, a hotel, on a roof side. They've got time.
A naked masseuse.
Exactly. They've got time on their hands to do all this. Well, the next scene then flashes and they're driving at 150 miles an hour and it's to the death and they're taking people off the road and everything. That just takes me out because they've got to film these scenes because it wouldn't have worked in the car because you've got to get different cast members together. But there's no context of saying, right, they race between daytime, so they race when it's light, so they race from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. And then when it's dark, there's no racing. There's no explanation. But then we get these 1 minute, and there's a scene where he's chatting to her, talking, and he says, you'll have to take control of the car. And she starts driving. And the next minute, they're on a cliffside talking. And I'm like, how have we got here? What the fuck is going on? Like, come on, Roger, give us some context at least. I know the movie is 80 minutes, but we need little bit of context why they stop, or a little bit of dialogue to explain why we have these random cutscenes in the movie. I just don't. It just takes me out every time when I see them. They don't make sense at all.
I mean, if you're looking for sense in this movie,
I know.
you're looking at the wrong place. The thing I found, again, for me, it's a comedy. You know, it's a black comedy at that, but it is a comedy. And so I think a lot of it just does not make sense. I mean, the fact that you've got this death race, so you've got people going around, you know, literally trying to fucking score points by murdering people. And you've got people of the public just going about their daily lives like there's fucking nothing happened at all. You got these people, these workmen, you know, trying to fix a fucking light or something, and then you've got two of them, and then Joe takes out the ladder of one, and the other one's like, yeah, fucking kill him. It just makes no sense whatsoever. But just going back to what you were saying about Carradine and you know, the fact that he wasn't very good at martial arts or anything. I remember as a kid, I used to love Kung Fu, and I remember the intro so much that I've actually got tattoos on the inside of my wrists because of that opening scene where he picks up the boiling cauldron, you know, and it makes an imprint on his wrist kind of thing. I used to absolutely love it. But then, I mean, in the 90s or something, I'd watched Dragon and then realised, oh, right, it's fucking Bruce Lee's idea, apparently, and then they just put a Caucasian bloke in there. And in lockdown, I remember thinking, you know what, I'm going to fucking watch a bit of Kung Fu, mate. Can't wait, you know, like, let's stick it on. I got about fucking 10 minutes in or something. It was so bad. Or maybe I possibly lasted longer than 10 minutes, matron. But, you know...
I'm boasting.
Good 11 minutes. But, yeah, I just remember, like, it was a real struggle. And in the end, I just turned it off. It was just fucking terrible. I might, at some point, try and, you know, see if I can go back and see if it was any better. But I just could not get through it. But I find David Carradine as this fucking wandering the earth type kung fu master. I can believe that more than David Carradine, the fucking heartthrob. Yeah. When she goes on, the navigator's going on about, you know, what's under the mask and whatever, and he whips off the gimp mask. And I think the scarring is just part of the mask. It's just like a prosthetic thing. But I think he's supposed to whip that off to reveal, like, he's fucking Brad Pitt or something. Like, he's this heartthrob. And you got this. I mean, he's not a good-looking bloke, is he? I don't get it. But I think it's played up. Like, he's this fucking heartthrob and this really good-looking bloke underneath the mask. And I just don't get it. And like I say, when he whips off the gimp suit as well, he's got this fucking twiglet body, which I'm supposed to believe he can beat up Sylvester Stallone. It's just utter nonsense.
I agree, because Stallone's the one who's the good-looking one of the movie, isn't it? Or even Martin Cove, you know, at that point, good-looking guy. You could have had one of them, couldn't you, being Frankenstein? I suppose that's what it's about. He's rebuilt his face, had different injuries, he wears the mask, blah, blah, blah.
I think they're different people. I think there have been other Frankensteins previously.
Yeah, there have, you're right. But he's one of them where you're like, he just looks like a middle-aged fucking... I don't know, just like somebody you probably...
Regular bloke?
Yeah, just... he just looks completely out of kilter, doesn't he? And obviously that girl who's within the navigator, she's like, you know, she's double agenting him and everything. And you're right, when that fight scene comes, he's terrible in it. I mean, Stallone, you know, fair enough, he's doing Rocky, he can take a dive. It felt like I was watching the scene out of a Rocky movie or something, because he's on the floor. But as soon as you know, they're having a bit of a to and fro, and then he picks up like a torque wrench, and then he picks up a tire iron, but then Frankenstein just levers him, but leaves him. So the whole idea of the race is to kill people. He's killed a few people through this movie, but for some reason he saves Joe from dying. which I find bizarre because Joe wouldn't have saved him. And I don't get it. I don't understand what the honourable thing of saving him was about, because obviously then Joe just goes to fucking goes up to like 1 million then, doesn't he? He's like, I'm going to kill him, you know, it's like, that's it, I'll kill him. I'm like, well, you had a chance, you got beat. Sometimes there's always someone tougher than you out there, no matter who you are. Just take that one, Joe. I just go, tail between your legs, come back and regroup. But no, Joe's like, fucking, I'll kill him next time I see him. No, you didn't work there, Joe. However, Frankenstein, again, he should have just killed him. I know it doesn't work for the movie, Dave. We need a car chase and everything and a battle at the end. But that, like, it sounds silly because you're crying out for it. But again, it's another scene where they're not racing and they're in a bar or a hotel or whatever they are and they're having a punch-up.
It just looks like they're at a fucking Holiday Inn or something.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Like the start of the Cannonball Run and that guy's driving around on his motorbike and everything and all that shit. It's like that, isn't it? It's weird.
Yeah. I think, I'll tell you something weird now, right? Well, not weird, but I was just looking up because it is amusing sometimes to look at when people were born. And there's still the pinnacle, the gold medal still goes to Taggart in Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, it's the greatest ever.
He's like 39. And it's like, fucking hell. But I was thinking, like, Carradine, he does look like that middle-aged bloke, doesn't he? But he's there with the gorgeous 20-something, 21-year-old fucking young girl who's a bit on the side, because not only is your job to navigate, but it's also to service the driver as well.
Yeah.
But I just looked. Carradine was born in 36. And so...
41.
Yeah, and he looks about that, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
But Simone Griffith, who plays plays Annie, was born in 1950. So actually, it's not that much. Like 14 years. That is not as ridiculous as I thought it would be.
Some of the other things, yeah, as some of the other movies we've covered with the love interest. You're right. Yeah,
yeah,
of his time, definitely.
But I mean, you mentioned about Martin Kove there, Sensei Kreese. I mean, he doesn't last too long, and you've got this whole subplot with the resistance almost. And Annie's part of the resistance. I think it's her nan who's basically running the resistance, but he actually gets killed off pretty quickly, doesn't he? And you say he's a good-looking bloke. I don't think he's as good-looking as his character is written to be. It sounded, some of the dialogue made it sound like he was an Adonis or something like that, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not really buying it.
But compared to Carradine, he is.
Well, yeah,
100%. He is to Carradine, but I do think you're right, because like the way the other characters, like the Nazi gets killed off. It's like you've got the resistance with a big. It's like watching fucking Roadrunner in it with Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
They put these flimsy things saying detour on the motorway, on the highway, whether it is the driving. And then they've got this fake tunnel, which anybody, unless you fucking Mr. Magoo, is going to see that that's not a real tunnel. But she goes, oh, detour, that's all I need. Straight through the tunnel, over the ravine, dead. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Like you said, it is a comic book type movie, isn't it? It's something that 1 minute it's serious, and then you've got these like cartoon Wile E. Coyote things again, haven't you? All we needed was Acmico or something, or like some Dynamite, and it's a full-on cartoon, and it is just so all over the place. But I do think even the plot, Frankenstein wants to shake the president's hand with a grenade, and I'm like,
not just with any old grenade though, a hand grenade.
A hand grenade, yeah, exactly. As he shakes his hand, but. And I'm jumping a little bit. When it gets to the president, so let's talk about that. So he goes against Joe, doesn't he? So he goes against Joe, and they're having this battle, and it's like, who's going to survive? And obviously he does overcome him when Joe dies, and then you're like, well, this is going to be the end of the movie, sort of thing. Stallone's out the game. I don't understand this. And we're talking about like how different characters are redeemable. They've got different things to offer. Is the president and that? are really compassionate to him. They think it's him, don't they? And it's her, but they're like really like, oh, he's a phenomenal, oh, what a great guy. And they're really picking him up. And I'm thinking, this is bizarre because you think they were supposed to be like a Nazi type character, you know, this absolute maniacal, narcissistical leader. Absolute, but his speech is totally the opposite of why Frankenstein wants to kill him, because he's like dead sympathetic and talking to the crowd and everything. And I'm like, this is weird how he wants to kill him. Why? What? I know he's supposed to be for the greater good, but he doesn't come across. I think if you're going to kill someone like that and be this horrible leader, he's got to be Adolf Hitler 2.0, and he's got to be someone who we're all rooting for as the audience go, oh, he's an absolute bastard. I can see Frankenstein's doing it for the greater good. He's going to take himself out. He's going to be kamikaze type, you know, situation. But it's not that at all. And that's what I find at the end totally bizarre about that whole speech and everything, especially as he ends up being the president himself.
But I think I mean, maybe it's in dialogue, you know, more so than you actually see with the president. But like say, he doesn't even live in the US. So whatever happened in 1979, you know, he ends up, he's living in Moscow. I mean, there are some parallels, Chris. True.
very
yeah. But you know, I think all you say about Hitler, and you know Hitler probably more from pop culture. You know more about the things from you know, from movies and stuff, from documentaries that you've seen. But to his own people fucking loved him. Stalin, you know, had this massive devotion. So when they're doing the public speaking, they turn on the charm and they, you know, get people to have this mad fucking no condition devotion to them. So for me, it was consistent. The bit that I didn't quite get is why Annie would end up wearing the fucking gimp suit and pretending to be Frankenstein. I know he was injured, but not injured enough to drive a fucking car. So I don't really understand the plot twist and what all that was about.
No, I don't. And I think even to the fact that, like, the grandmother who's part of the resistance, who's not really a redeemable character, she's now like the Ministry of Defence or whatever she is. Yeah. She gets a job, Annie does, and what's interesting, they go off in a proper car though. It's not a death race car. It's nothing. It's actually a proper, I can't remember the bloody name of it is, but it's an old school proper slick
That's
car.
Not like you.
No, I can't remember the bloody name. Oh, it's a Tomasi, like an Italian Tomasi. It's like a Ferrari rip-off. They're quite rare. But it's a nice car, the yellow car. But again, he kills fucking someone, doesn't he? You know what I mean? Like, as he's going. And the commentators are going, yeah, well, that's great, that. Yeah, see you next time. And I'm like, fucking precedent here, mate. You're not allowed to go around killing people just because you go on your honeymoon to get your leg over. But you seem to be able to get away with it.
Bit 70s justice. I think that is okay. But that was Junior Bruce, so the the TV personality played by Don Steele. So we'd seen him in Rock and Roll High School as well. He's got that. I think he was a radio presenter or something at the time. Had that quite distinctive voice. I think it's just a bit of comedy at the end. So the whole thing where they kind of wrap up, they're trying to say that getting rid of the president, you know, and his whole totalitarian regime, and obviously Frankenstein is now the fucking president, and all is forgiven. It's a little bit how the end of Return of the Jedi was written to be, where it's like, oh, the Emperor's dead, hooray, everything's great, everyone's going to celebrate. No. The fucking grandmother will be thrown in prison, never to be seen again, probably, and it wouldn't just be about getting rid of the president. There's a whole fucking system, and people, would have just labelled her a terrorist, and she'd have been fucking in Guantanamo Bay. And so, it is all just a bit of nonsense at the end. But for me, perfectly in keeping with the nonsense that we've seen for the previous... however long, 80 minutes, did you say it was?
80, yeah.
Absolute ridiculous nonsense.
It is, and I think Tony, he's picked a cracker. Absolute cracker. We were talking with Spider-Man on his podcast one of the other night, and he said, "Oh, you didn't say what it was," but we said, "Oh, it's Tony's pick," and Dan went, "He's got to be a Roger Corman film," and he didn't know, but he was like, "Yeah, it is." Yeah, Tony's done his homework, Dave. Definitely. I love the fact that what a variation of movies that we're covering as usual. Just such silly movies. I know some of it's the year of the stitch up, but I think with this one, this is a watchable movie, irrespective of like the faults in it and the lack of progression or idea with the characters. If you just watch it pure, I can see why this is at 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is unbelievable. Unbelievable, really. But the user reviews are just under 7. So it's a well-reviewed movie, and for a lot of people, it's a classic sci-fi car chases. For me, if I'd watched it maybe years ago, it may be in there in the discussion, but as like a bit of a classic you'd go back to, but because I'm watching it 50 years later, it's a different type of movie. But I can totally respect where everything's coming from, definitely, and on such a low budget.
Yeah, I mean, it is a proper cult movie, isn't it? Like you say, just utterly ridiculous, very out there. But I'm impressed. I think Tony was maybe hoping for a different reaction from you, but we'll find out in our final review.
Anything else, Dave, before we get into it?
There is one thing. World Euthanasia Day. So again, if you were in any doubt at all about, whether this was a comedy or not, you've got this concept of World Euthanasia Day, and it's where all the doctors and nurses wheel out all the old people and obviously score more points. I think it's 100 points for the old people. And then, for me, it's one of those scenes that I remember because it's almost, I don't know, Carry On or something like that, where Frankenstein decides not to drive over all the old people. And then he goes behind you see behind the screen almost, and you just get these nurses flinging up in the air. They're obviously on a trampoline or something like that. Again, you just needed the kind of comedy sound effects there, I think. So, yeah, I thought that was an iconic scene. It just had me crying, that one.
Yeah, you know what? It's one way to cleanse the world population, Dave, isn't it? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's brilliant.
Yeah. So should we get into our final review?
Let's go. So, Dave, before I give my scores, it's only for the great man to give us his review and why he picked this movie.
Hello, Chris and Dave, dear friends of mine. I hope you enjoyed that masterpiece, Roger Corman's Death Race 2000. Here's the most amazing thing about it, and all of its random nudity for no reason, and Sylvester Stallone doing whatever it is he's doing in that movie. The fact remains that Roger Corman really kind of predicted the future because Americans do love violence. Americans do love to elect an authoritarian strongman who will tell you to not believe your eyes. It doesn't matter what you see. It's the French's fault, he'll say, or it's somebody else's fault. I mean, how many times has our dear leader changed his mind in the middle of a sentence, and the people who follow him and believe him follow him and believe him? Yes, we can't end Death Race because Americans love violence, Mr. President. Frankenstein. Oh my God, I love this movie so much. It never ever gets old. It's not good. It's great. Oh my God. I love it. I love it. Cloud fucking City. I hope you hated it a little, but also appreciate it for all of its glory. Thank you for watching it, my friends. Dear, dear friends of mine.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, Dave, I think that segues perfectly into my review score because it didn't do its job. It's the Tony Farina because I did actually quite enjoy it for it being utterly ridiculous. It is definitely a Sunday, Saturday afternoon, you've had a drink, you want to chill out, you want something stupid to watch. Yeah, I probably would watch this again, and I'm not just saying it, I would. Don't start throwing Hit Monkey at me, Dave, and all that crap, but it is just stupid. More for Stallone. I'd probably just go to the Stallone bits, how stupid and over the top he is. Like, he's just took the character. It's not De Niro levels of method acting, it is ridiculous. It's silly. The car chases are okay. The weird cutscenes where everyone just stops racing. There's no real like dialogue why we're even in these situations other than just to film it. So everyone's together. So I will put this, Dave, in Hill Valley. Just in Hill Valley. But I think it's in the middle. It was enjoyable. It's stupid. And I think I can certainly see the DNA of car chase movies that come after it. So yes, very good pick. So what about yourself?
Interesting. I had no idea where you were going to go with this one, but I thought because cars were so prominent, I thought that might pull you through. And also, I do feel like you've been calibrated a little bit to the really shit movies. We've watched that many of them. But I love this movie as well. I think, again, I'll echo what Tony said. It is not a good movie at all, but I always say with these things, you have to grade a little bit on a curve. You have to look at the budget and what was done for the budget. And yes, the cars look a bit ridiculous. You know, Joe's fucking so-called knife that he's got on the front of the car, you can see is basically cardboard or something, spray painted. But I just really appreciate how much they did for the budget. And the fact that politically it seems like quite relevant. Just those ideas of how, you know, especially the girl who gets run over. We didn't actually talk about the random nudity, the communal fucking masseur parlors or whatever as well. It just random boobs scattered throughout there for reasons.
Terrible.
You know. Yeah. But I thought it just did so well. And the fact that it became like this pop culture and it got its own, you know, it got a reboot, which for me pales in comparison. It missed the point. The whole satire piece was missing, which is what makes this movie. I just think it's amazing. And I don't know, because we're on the so bad it's good scale, I think, you know, and there are some things that are genuinely good about this. I do think this dystopian future, I'm a sucker for all that stuff anyway. But the fucking music, the music choices are terrible in this. So when you've got Frankenstein and Joe fighting away, and you've got this jazz piece going on in the background, playing experimental jazz. It's like, what the fuck is going on? It just, the music was randomly put together, a bit like the movie, I guess, but you know, it just didn't ever fit with the scenes that were on the screen, you know? And so that almost adds to the chaos of it and almost makes it better. But let's face it, objectively, it was pretty crap, the music. But yeah, I'm going to put this in Pleasantville. I just think it's so iconic as a cult movie. I just can't help but love it. But yeah, not quite Cloud City as Tony's score there, but for me, yeah, Pleasantville.
Fair enough. Great pick. So Dave, what have we got for next week, my friend?
Well, Chris, we have cooed many times about great martial artists. And then we have also done movies about Seagal. This next one is going to be a pick by Tim, who has said this movie is the end of a 4-movie golden era. And it culminated with Out for Justice from 1991. So I do remember we'd done Under Siege, hadn't we? And then had fucking Tommy Lee Jones there being basically Two-Face from Batman that we become later. But this one, I think, I've never watched this one, and so I'm going to be intrigued. Got my own opinions about the authenticity of some of Seagal's martial arts. And I know you have as well. I'm sure that'll come up next week. But do you ever seen this one at all?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the king of Bullshido, Dave, so I can't wait to watch this.
I was thinking Bullshido as well.
Oh, can't wait. Absolutely brilliant pick. And something different. Not different. It goes back to the martial arts stuff, David. But Seagal, though, whenever I watch his movies, he kicks the shit out of all the extras, doesn't he? He just absolutely, they always end up look like it hurt when he does stuff. I must admit, some of his earlier stuff does look good. The choreography is really good in it. So, yeah, let's see.
and I'm sure we'll get more into this, but I think if you look at the action scenes, the stuff that I've seen, it is all about the stuntman.
Yeah.
Because he does almost nothing, and he's absolutely fucking clotheslining people. And
yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. He's like proper wrestling. We're like, oh, that does look like it hurt, actually.
Yeah.
Because I think as well with him, is like you say, he's what he does, the Bushido stuff, supposed to be using their momentum against him, but I think he just uses everyone's momentum and just basically goes around groping all the fucking women on sets and that from what we've read about him, let alone doing anything else, the blagger. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope we get a Steven Seagal run, because that is the most memeable thing ever when you watch him run when he was younger. It's the greatest run ever. There's so many videos on that, Dave. I don't know if you've ever come across his running style, but it's fantastic. Especially Nico and stuff. Oh, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's such a shame about the fucking copyright and stuff. Did I send you at any time that song that he did called Strut?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you sent me that. Yes, it's amazing. The blues one. It's fucking brilliant.
No, it was like some kind of weird... It was David Brent, his Quality Street levels of fucking Jamaican accent.
Yes, that's the one. We get cancelled, but he's a blues player as well. He's done blues songs, hasn't he, and stuff.
Yeah.
Videos.
He's released various albums, so I'm sure we'll get into more of that next
Absolutely fucking lunatic. So, massive thank you, Tim. I can't wait for this now. That's going to be so good. If you want to email us, the vhsstrikesback@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media at vhsstrikesback. If you do want to support us, please get over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. So, the roll call of honour for today, and a big thank you to Nick, Greg, Gareth, Mike, Lee, Helen, Dylan, Dan, Justin, Susan, Tim, Matt, Hales, Ken, Lucky Lulu Green, Herbs, Jack, Math, Blake, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So thank you so much, guys, for your support. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, Steven Seagal, I can't wait, Dave. I'm going to watch this one early. I've got to watch it, and then we'll be swapping messages. Oh, what a film. I'm sure it's on YouTube as well, so that'll be accessible for everyone, hopefully. So brilliant stuff.
Yeah, I must admit, I mean, as I've alluded to there, Steven Seagal is not one of my favourites at all. However, just talking through it then, I'm thinking, yeah, I can't wait till next week now.
Oh, come on, honestly. Absolutely brilliant. Such a great film. He's such a cock, innit?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It's actually, I think it's on YouTube. Brilliant. That's even better. Brilliant stuff.
Amazing stuff, sir. Well, given this week's pick was by Tony, and I know Tony, he does have an eclectic taste, but a lot of, he was in a punk band, and, he's a massive fan of the Ramones and stuff. And so I thought, let's go for something a little bit more on the punk side of things. And so that's where I've started off for this week's musical pick.
Oh, I like that.
Nice bit of bass in it.
Yeah, taking you back there, Dave.
Maybe a bit more new wave than punk, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no. Oh, it's proper driving guitar, Dave. Yeah.
30th the jacket, 40th they roll. 50th for the Italy, crossing in a pram. It's death race, baby, and the streams are loud. Death race is dancing, mercy is there. Death race is dancing, streets painted red. Death race is dancing, blood in our track. Death race is dancing, there's no turning back. $60 for a tartar, bonus if they're big. Sending for a cyclist with only one leg. Heading for a kettle with someone else. Hit them all at once and the fans will shout. Death race is dancing. Mercy is dead. Death race is dancing. Streets painted red. Death race is dancing. Blood in our track. Death race is dancing. There's no turning back.
It's a bit jam actually with the bass.
Yeah. It's a bit of a Debbie Harry feel as well.
Yeah.
Drive with pride and never break. Every kill's for freedom's sake. Clean the streets in glorious name. Do your part and make us great again. Death race to dancing. Mercy is dead. Death race to dancing. Streets painted red. Death race to dancing. Blood in our track. Death race to dancing. No turning back. Death race to dancing. Mercy is dead. Death race to dancing. Streets painted red. Death race to dancing. Blood in our track. Death race to dancing. No turning back.
That's a proper Tony song, Dave.
It is.
Yeah, love that.
So yeah, I thought again I couldn't get quite the Ramones feel, but and it was a little bit over 3 minutes. I know Tony says 3 minutes and that's it, in and out, job done. But anyway, Chris,
You're right.
a bit like Frankenstein in the massage parlor. But anyway, Chris, great chat today. I didn't know where you were going to go, but glad you enjoyed it a bit more than I thought maybe you would. But next week, cannot wait for a bit of Seagal, a bit of Strut, and we'll see how that one goes. But thank you very much to all our listeners. Thanks to all our supporters, and we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back.
That's a lie.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off.
Get to the chopper!
One ring to go.
All right. Ding, ding.
Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on. Ain't so bad. Ain't nothing. Come on. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid fool. Yeah, maybe you crazy or something. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I'll see you in 6 months.